Today we're with Scotty from RS Andrews, and we're going to be talking about your HVAC system and how we calculate what type of system you need for your house. How you doing, Scotty?
Doing great. How are you?
Nice to see you, buddy.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So tell me about load calculation. How does that affect someone's home?
It is the most important key that you can do for heating and air for your home. If it's not the right size, you're going to be not comfortable, and if it's too small, you're going to be hot. And like we said earlier, you can wake up in the middle of the night on a hot day freezing to death because it finally cooled off. Or if it's too large, it's going to run very short increments and doesn't run long enough to pull the humidity out. And so now when we start making the inside of the house sweat like a Coke can, then you create mold. So it's a very simple process that we use. It's called a load calculation. It's a room-to-room calculation. We take the square footage and the ceiling height, and we want to change the air 5 times an hour, and that converts over to a very simple formula for us to say, this particular room needs this much air for this room, and so we go room to room to room and we take measurements. We use a nice little laser, very quick, very easy to do. We encourage the homeowners to get involved with us so they can understand the process. I tell everybody it's not rocket science, but it's very exact. And the importance of having a load calculation, make sure it's done and done correctly. Here at RS Andrews, it's mandatory we do every house that we go to ensure we're doing it and doing it right.
So you guys have a system where you're measuring each home the same way, and you're calculating the volume of air that's moving through the house, so that you can correctly size the unit to fit each client's home individually.
Exactly. You're exactly right. You can have 2 houses that are identically the same, but have 2 different types of units just depending on which way the house is setting.
Is that right?
One's facing east, one facing west. You have 2 different types of loads. So it's a very simple formula, very simple process. We try not to overwhelm our homeowners with it. Just let them know we're very critical to attention to detail. Make sure it's done and done right, because literally this room here may take a specific amount of air versus another room that has a different ceiling height won't take as much. So it's very critical it's done and done correctly. Doing it room by room, we can actually calculate exactly how much air needs to be in it, and if it's not enough, we can make simple ductwork adjustments to actually put the correct amount of air in there.
Can you hang around with us for a few minutes? We were going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Be my pleasure.
So you've got rooms that have different size ceilings or different heights on the ceiling. So an 8-foot ceiling is pretty standard, but then you see 8, 20, I mean, all different types of differences on the heights of the ceilings. So each room can be a different area or a different volume of air that we have to account for.
That's exactly right. And the key ingredient is to make sure it's done. We see a lot of people that come in and say, oh, you have a 3-ton unit, and you go back with a 3-ton. But doing the load calculation and doing it room by room, you actually uncover a lot of unknowns, because a lot of people actually, because we have a lot of hot and cold spots, they say, well, this room does great, got good airflow out of, but this room over here by the garage, it stays hot in the summer and really cold in the winter. So doing it room by room, we can actually calculate exactly how much air needs to be in it, and if it's not enough, we can make simple ductwork adjustments to actually put the correct amount of air in there.
So tell me some of the problems that are associated with having an improper balance on the amount of the system that you have for your home.
A lot of things. Hot and cold spots is the #1 problem that we come across, but also the unit being very loud, and a lot of that is not having enough return. Just think of heat and air as like how we breathe. Return is what we breathe in, supply is what we blow out.
Okay.
So we have to be able to breathe in the same amount we're blowing out. And if you have a good tattletale buttons, if you have a house that has white carpet and you go up the stairs and you notice a gray little line on the edges.
Yeah, you see it all the time.
It's not because you're not vacuuming, it's because you don't have enough return, so it's trying to suck air from anywhere it can. Cracks in the walls, sockets in the wall there, the light switches. It's trying to breathe every ounce of air it can breathe in because it's choking. Not only when you get enough return in there, you balance the system out, but also it makes the unit quiet.
So one thing that makes you guys unique is that you're doing the proper load calculation. You're going to properly size the unit for the house. You're going to take a look at their ductwork and make sure that it's properly sized so that you're getting the right airflow to different areas of the home, so you're avoiding those hot and cold spots.
Yes, that's correct, and you're avoiding a lot of problems, because if you guess at it and you don't know exactly it's done and done correctly, you're setting yourself up for failure. We actually go by the theory, let's do it right the first time and not have to worry about it.
Well, that's one of the things I like about you guys is you want to make sure you do it right. You've got a system and you've got professional technicians that when they go out, they're going to properly evaluate the system and make sure they're doing it the proper way.
Yes, sir, and that is the best way to do it. That's the easiest practice.
Awesome.